Around barely just 24 hours after assumption of office as the governor of Edo State, a lot of old changes has begun to take place in Edo State as Governor Senator Ogbobolo has sacked some permanent secretaries, and all of the permanent secretaries in the Edo State in the bid to reshape the government of the day from the state public service and other political appointees in the state. Senator Ogbobolo has also approved the dissolution of the executive of all the boards and the agencies parastatals in the state public service with immediate effect. That is it, coming from the State just barely 24 hours after his inauguration. There are a lot of reactions that are continuing to be monitored in respect to the actions of the governor, but those I will call it hitting the ground running from day one, also looking at the critical factors that may shape his governance for the next 4 years that he was elected in as the governor of the state. And away from Edo State to Ondo State, there are a lot of concern. The political tension is high. Many political parties, agents, observers are converging in Akure, the state capital, ahead of the Saturday Expo. A lot of reactions as to what it may look like. INEC, at the other hand, has promised many people of Ondo State that we won't repeat the mistakes of Edo, the issues of logistics challenge, malfunctions of beavers, and all of those factors that have shaped the elections. INEC has reiterated its commitment again for Ondo election that the Saturday election we will do better. And just as we've also been confirmed that a lot of reactions and observers, political parties, PDP, APC, Labour Party, and the rest are all finalizing their campaigns in a bid to take the vote and to receive the vote of the people of Ondo as they march in their numbers to elect on who becomes the governor of Ondo State come Saturday. Now tonight, everyone, we'll be looking at a very troubling concern. It all looks that electricity consumers are kicking against the recent increase in the price of prepaid meters. We've also seen the issues of the electricity crisis. This is quite affecting many Nigerians as to the interpretation of what are the discos, the distribution companies currently doing in the increase of the prepaid meters, the tariff increase, and all of that. It looks that there have been an upward review from the month of August, which has raised concern among the consumers, not just about affordability, but also accessibility. There are also information together that there are some communities that are totally in the dark, who do not have power for some months, for some years, which is still a major concern. If we must drive production, if we must get out of the current economic situation, there is a need to pay attention to the issue of power in the country. We're looking at all of that tonight and also delving our attentions to the issues of the system of government in Nigeria. That those that are still calling, just as some members of House of Representatives are also calling on their attentions of government in respect to transition to the parliamentary system of government, which some persons may be a bit to also strengthen and correct some abnormalities and excesses of a presidential system of government. But of course, so many Nigerians are still asking, would this address all of the issue of corruption, issues of judiciary independence, issues of INEC independence, and all of those criteria that are still shaping our democracy today. Tonight, we'll be delving all to that issues and also having a concern to knowing what may be the way forward, the solution for Nigerians, and what is best for this country to practice. National President, Association for Public Policy Analysis, Prince Okere is our guest tonight. He joins us live here on the program to discuss the issues of electricity crisis. Thanks so much, Chief, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it has been a very concerning moment when you look at the fact that we can't do it without power in respect to electricity. We've been having this conversation, but it looks that year in, year out, we can't find a lasting solution to it. That those that are making comparison to our neighboring countries, which some neighboring countries are beginning to have a sustainability of power. What is happening within our own sector?
My brother, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe said that what led to the fall of civilizations is the abuse of the people's rights. And he says, without the people hold the mandate to man's social existence on earth. Without the people, no social, political, or economic revolution can crystallize. What do I mean by that? The power sector cannot function effectively in a situation where the consumers are exploited, they are extorted, the truth is not brought out, no punishment for people, regulatory policies are not abided by, no compliance, no enforcement. It becomes a problem. You can't run the power sector on propaganda. You can't run it on deceit. For instance, the privatization we are in today was predicated on the assumption that if there is an adequate supply of power, people will pay for supply. Where are we today? Since 2013, when privatization took off, how many megawatts have we achieved? How many was it before privatization? We've not done any better. Rather, conduit pipe, siphoning money here and there. Take for instance, the Nigerian Electricity Liability and Management Company came as a special purpose entity, and their job was to manage liabilities and assets of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria. Till today, they were to operate within 5 years from 2013. But do you know that till today, 2024, almost 12 years, they are still there? What are they doing? Go and check. Just last August, 94 million naira was used to hold training for board members that are not up to 13 and some staff in Lagos here. 94 million naira. And we are saying that there's no liquidity in the sector. Okay, look at the issue of meter you're talking about now. In 2018, the regulator, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, came up with what they call meter access provider. And the meter access provider entails that if you buy meter as a consumer, you recover your money through energy credits. The question is, how many persons have bought meter? Do we have the data? How many persons have been refunded? Secondly, 2 years after 2020, the government came up with what they call national mass metering program. That 200 billion was provided for, and then it was to be implemented in 3 phases. The pilot phase, 59 billion naira was shared to the 11 discos in 2020. And the reason for this policy was that if there are meters to consumers, losses will be stopped and there will be adequate collection. Because through meter, you will know what you consume, you cannot bypass, you can. But 4 years down the line, the discos have only paid back 7 billion out of the 59 billion they got. Where is the rest of the money? And you're not hearing anybody talk about that program again. When you remove the 59 billion, where is the balance? When you remove the 59 billion from the 200 billion, where is the balance? Where is it kept? Who is with it? Now, the 1 million meters that the 59 billion was supposed to provide, the question is, how many persons benefited? Where are the beneficiaries? Who got the meter? Now, how much has those meters, 1 million meters, generated within the 4 years period? That what the discos could pay back as at 2024 is only 7.1 billion or thereabout. So you can now see that. And then on top this, NEC, the regulator, rather than account or hold discos accountable on this, they came up and introduced meter access provider. No, they came up and introduced meter acquisition fund as part of the bill consumers pay. Now, the people that didn't provide meter, the same consumer that is buying meter is paying for meter acquisition fund. What is acquisition? Acquisition does not entail procuring the product. So if you are consumers are paying for meter acquisition fund and they are still the ones buying meter, what does that tell you? How can the sector work? And the worst is tariff has been increased often and often. Now, do you know that the latest tariff increase, discos requested for increase on the condition that they want to generate money to pay back the 59 billion naira loan? The question we should be asking now is, why will you and I give disco money to pay back loan that we didn't benefit from? So with all this corruption and all this things that are happening to exploit the average consumer. Now, tell me now, the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, how many assets did they sell? As those who manage the liabilities and assets of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, how many assets did they sell? How much did they generate? The 10% they should use out of that money after paying federal government part of, what did they use them for? You ask that. Then how many liabilities did they settle? About 2 billion naira has been used to settle 8 liability claims. 2 billion naira, 8 liability claims. What were the claims all about? About 41 billion has been spent to say that settling states, they call it grand rent. What is grand rent? If you check Decree 20 of 1972 or 1976, Section 9 there provides that land should be taken for electricity compulsorily from the states. And then under PSCM, was there any agreement as to say, because states provided those lands so that the facilities can be installed there to make the states get electricity. Now the question is, what happened? When did the states now begin to demand refund for the facilities? Suddenly, after the first management of NEMCO left, just the last tenure began to initiate an idea that states need to be paid back grand rent. Which law provided that states should be paid back grand rent? What is the contribution of the states in electricity? I don't know whether I'm making sense. Now, the question now is, why is it that NEMCO is paying grand rent? Where did it originate from? So 40-something billion has gone. And the minister will tell you that the sector is not liquid. How? We need to ask. Now, when they reel out, when the liability company reels out all the liabilities that are settling, all the assets they set from 2012 to 2023, the question is, how many management executives have run that company? About 2 or 3 sets of them. And then these 2 or 3 sets of management team, what did the pioneer management team achieve before the second one came in? And then the current one is claiming that they're handling liabilities between 2012 and 2023. Does it mean that the people that were there before didn't handle any liability, or they didn't sell assets? Up till now, they still want to sell assets. So if the sector will work, the truth is, look, the Constitution in Section 34, 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it says that no Nigerian should go through torture, inhuman and degrading treatment. Servitude is not supposed to.
Is that the situation currently?
Currently in the electricity sector, Nigerians are humiliated. Nigerians are treated as in an inhuman way. You cannot tell me that I pay for meter acquisition fund and still buy meter myself. And you compel me to pay for meter under meter access provider, and you don't refund me. You still use my meter to do your service. You tell me, okay, look at, you give operational expenditure to a distribution company to maintain the facilities. Transformer in my community gets spoiled. The distribution company looks away. The residents now, the consumers will contribute money and repair it. The moment they repair it, the distribution company will come to collect money. And you now make it an asset that compulsorily this will take it over.
Is it true that our infrastructure are aging out? Because that those that are having a concern that it looks that the infrastructure that we have, cannot even sustain some of these power outages in some facilities.
Comes, just like I was saying, what was the money NEMCO generated used for? If those facilities are aging,
who are those responsible for
if they're aging, you need to change. Now they approve for the discos, they approve capital expenditure, CapEx, for them every year. And it runs in billions. What do they use it for? The purpose is for them to use it, buy transformer, buy pole, buy wire, enhance network expansion. Now, the regulator came up with a policy they call Network Expansion Investment Policy. Under Network Expansion Investment Policy, you as a third party, if you invest, you want to recover, they will pay you back your money. But nobody talks about that. No policy enlightenment, no education for the consumers. You see communities stay for 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, no electricity. Then they will write the distribution company, they will tell them, well, we don't have money yet. Meanwhile, CAPEX is given to them. Now the community will contribute money. They won't even initiate to say, okay, come, let's enter an agreement so that you can invest and do it and recover your money. They'll make them sign a form that they have donated it to them. And is it not exploitation? And this is why, let me tell you, my brother, this is why you see the grid collapse issue and vandalism. It cannot be fought under this condition. Why am I saying so? Section 204 to 224 of the Electricity Act 2023 is on offenses and penalties. Section 119 of the Act is on consumer protection and licensing performance standards. Section 34(1)(f) provides that regulation should be fair and balanced to the consumer, the investor, and others. Now, where is fairness? When a distribution company collects capital expenditure and refuses to provide their transformer, when government provides 200 billion or 59 billion for you and I to get meter free, and we don't get the meter, and we are meant to be paying a percentage of our electricity bill for them to repay that loan. Where is fairness?
How about the concern that these schools are raising that there's an increase of power theft, and this is the reason that they are losing, they are not making profits, and all of these tariffs that you will find are the result to get so that they will not be bankrupt.
Theft is relative. Theft is relative.
But is it true that Nigerians are engaging with that?
I don't know. Let them conduct a survey.
So if these schools are giving that allegations, do you feel that it's justifiable?
They will always give allegation against consumers so that they will have their way, because the government will always support them. The regulator will always support them. But let me even ask you, has the telecommunication companies complained like that? Why are the telecommunication companies not complaining? But their own service is a little bit more different. Why will a disco tell you that there is theft? How are they protecting those things? Are you sure their staff is not contributing? Can a layman who doesn't know about electricity go and connect? He'll be shocked. So when they say theft, and why do people thief? Because they believe that you are shortchanging them. They believe there's no fairness.
But it's not enough reason for people to engage in.
I'm not encouraging it, but what I'm saying is justice is for all. Section 15 of the Constitution says every form of corruption should be abolished. So,
for instance, the national grid that they said it was an attack or within that facilities, how do we still have to push the blame to that?
Who attacked it? Who is the chief security officer of the local government? Where that thing is located? Is the local government chairman. The governor is the chief security officer of the state, and he receives a security vote every month. The local government council chairman has security meeting every week with the DSS, the police, the civil defense. Section 4 of the Civil Defense Amended Act of 2007 made vandalism of this as a kind of terrorist crime of terrorism, and gave them the power to.
They have said it's bandit. They said bandit took that.
They said that Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps should prevent that by enforcing the penalties and offenses section. If you look at that section on penalties and offenses, there is a penalty for vandalism. There is for meter theft. There is for anybody caught selling vandalized electrical equipment. Who has been caught? Is the police not there? Who have they charged to court? Why are they not apprehending people and taking them to court?
All right.
So it's not enough saying that it's theft.
Is the issue about investment, because we've seen federal government raising a concern that they need over $10 billion for private public partnership in order for them to drive this. So that those that have a concern would invest.
All these are things they orchestrate to keep collecting loan and sharing. Let me ask you, all the money that World Bank has been putting into the power sector, GIZ has been putting in money, European Union has been putting in money, so many international organizations have been putting in money into the power sector. Where is the result? Where is the impact? Is it this 10 billion now that will bring impact? And then I'm asking, why is it that these donors that are bringing these monies, who tell us that they are in Nigeria to support transparency and accountability, anti-corruption, why will World Bank bring 1 billion naira, 100 million naira to Nigeria, or dollars? And they will not be interested in supporting ICPC or EFCC to track the utilization of the funds. Why are they looking away? But then let me even ask you, what is the community investment in the power sector? How much has the discos invested in providing transformer, pole and wire since they took off? How much have they invested in infrastructure? It is the community, Nigerians, that are investing. Unfortunately, the government does not consider it necessary to even encourage them or organize the communities to really take ownership. If you treat consumers well and make the communities have sense of belonging, they'll protect those facilities.
All right.
But when you treat them the way you are treating them, every day we are hearing money that is being brought, but we don't hear the one local Nigerians are provided. How fair is it? Okay, have you had any account of utilization of all the money that the international communities have brought to the power sector since 2013, that privatization took off? How were they utilized? How much did Obasanjo put into the power sector? Obasanjo administration. How much did Jonathan administration put in? How much has the international community put in? Where is the account of that? Like I'm asking you now, how much has NEMCO gotten in sale of assets? And how has it been used?
All right, Honorable, because there are a lot of concern. Even the EFCC chairman just recently had confirmed that there is a whole lot of corruption into the power sector, and it looks that he has been a concern that some of that those contractors that have been awarded some contract of supply that are also perpetuating these. And the question will be, are they Nigerians? Because even look at the fact that we are trying to find a lasting solution, so the way out of all of this. We know that the biggest challenge is the corruption in the sector. What should be the way out? How do we address these issues?
On the 24th and 25th of October, I am the conference consultant on Nigerian Electricity Supply Industry Safety Conference. We organized that conference in my Association for Public Policy Analysis in collaboration with the House of Reps Committee on Safety Standards and Regulations. Organized that conference. The issue you raised now came up about installations. And then the question is, who are the installers? There is a law, Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency Act of 2015, in Section 6M, says it is a crime for a non-certified, somebody without a NEMSA competency certificate to carry out electrical installation. Today, my brother, the person who connects electricity for you, have you ever seen his competency certificate? Who is enforcing that law? Nobody. So you don't expect, because where there is no proper governance of the sector, you can't expect it to really work well.
If there are some provisions within the new act permitting some state to also have their own interventions in a way of helping out, would that address the issues?
Let me tell you.
We've seen some states setting up commissions.
Let me give you this instance. Public sector organizations, public enterprises were being ruined in Nigeria. Rather than examine why and punish those who were doing it and recover the money, we shifted to privatization. Privatization has kept us where we are.
It was a wrong mistake for us to privatize. But there are those that feel that government cannot do business, and that was the reason why they had to bring in private organizations.
Then why, if that is true, why is it that decisions in the power sector is made more only by government?
Are they trying to protect Nigerians?
And non-state actors are not part of it.
Are they trying to protect Nigerians?
I don't think so. Let me tell you. Go to Ministry of Power. There's a department on transmission, distribution, generation, none for consumer protection. Then who was the privatization policy made for? It was made for the consumers who will pay based on efficient supply. But you have no unit that even discusses with the minister on consumers' issues. So the only thing, when they discuss with World Bank for loan, do you see any non-state actor there? Do you hear about civil society? Do you hear about private operators? All you hear about is NEC, Ministry of Power, this one. All of them why are they the ones negotiating when they are not the investors? They are supposed to set the rules. But they are the ones collecting loan. Why are they the ones collecting loan? What role do the private sector organization? Okay, they've set up committee on grid collapse. Is there any non-state actor among the committee? Is there any civil society person there? Is there any consumer among the committee? Why does it revolve around only government? And you are talking of privatization. So what information do they have? So when the whole thing still revolves around government, you can't get anything better. So then going back to what you asked about state electricity market. Okay, my brother, at privatization, it was said that the states own 40% of the value chain and the discos own 60%. Which state can tell you how much electricity generates in his state based on his 40% interest as a shareholder? Has any state done that? Which state tells you the investment of their citizens in the state in the power sector? Which state tells you how much community people contribute to buy transformer, buy pole, buy wire? Do they care? Is it now? Rather than strengthen the governance of the sector, we are not talking about state electricity, then we push it to the states. When you push it to the state, do you have consumer enumeration now? Can any investor invest properly in any state when he doesn't see the enumeration to check the profitability of his investment? If he doesn't see it, he won't invest. So it's not enough making the noise about state electricity market. Yes, if it's well managed, it may work. But I have not seen proper foundation laid for that now. Because if there be proper foundation, we have to start by reviewing consumer perspective to electricity service delivery. And if you review the consumer perspective, one, you will generate data. How many consumers are paying bills? How much is being generated in the states? What is the investment in infrastructure in the state? What laws are being, how are the regulatory policies enforced? Who will manage them? All these we need to look at. So it's not enough talking about state electricity market.
All right. What can you say about the capital project implementation and execution? Because the research even by EFCC has confirmed that even nothing has been done, even to about 20% or 20% of it.
I've already told you here that there is capital expenditure, which fund for it is always approved for the distribution companies by the regulator. How is it used? Because you're talking about capital. And this capital you're talking about, that comes to play again to ask. All the money donor agencies are bringing, what is the percentage that goes into capital investment? Then what is the investment that local people, consumers, put in? Many consumers, they buy transformer. In Anambra, I have a cousin who bought transformer, electrified the community. The distribution company didn't put 1 naira. He was even being frustrated by Enugu Electricity Distribution Company. But that thing he did is now providing electricity in the community, which the distribution company will be using to make money. Is it fair? So how can it work? Go and check. Do we have data? How many transformers are functional, even in Abuja here? How many are non-functional? We should know. How many are provided by the distribution company on an annual basis? Comparatively with the amount of money they get on capital expenditure. So everything is shrouded in secrecy. And then we are being told things that will shift our attention from really looking at the realities on ground. It doesn't work that way.
Did you feel the move for banding consumers was the right step?
It's a violation of the Act. If you check section 116, Section 116 of the Act is against that is grouping consumers like that. It is not. What are you doing?
All right.
Who gave the approval? How did you conduct a consumer interaction? You need to get the consumers and hear from them. When was it done?
And some of them ready to pay what they can't have. And some of them have,
so
but they cannot pay.
Right? Okay, the worst is that, okay, can you imagine when there is grid collapse? There won't be light. Once light comes, those unmetered consumers are meant to pay as if they had light that period. Even on the band A now, there are people who have been migrated to band A forcefully, but they don't have the light, they don't have meter, and are meant to pay as if they have used the light. Is that the way? Can't this country be ruled based on fair play and justice? Justice is the only antidote to peace. So when a sector like this is run against the citizens, and the citizens are made to look like cash cow, it's difficult for us. Even God himself will create problem for the sector. So they need to treat citizens. Our constitution says welfare and security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government.
I agree.
So when the people now struggle and eke out a living, and use power sector to set strategy and collect it from them. Now the sale assets you sold, they don't know where you kept the money. The liabilities you are paying for, they don't even know how it came about. A company, Nelco, that should last for 5 years, is lasting for 12 years. And what value are they bringing?
All right, Chief Prince Ulukere, National President, Association for Public Policy Analysis, thanks so much for your concern, because it all looks at it is quite very unfair given the current economic hardship that we are having, increase in tariff and even increase in the metering services, which is also drawing a lot of concerns. And just as the EFCC chairman has raised that is wedging into the sector to see how he can curb some of this corruption, we do hope that things will be done so that Nigeria can breathe. Because the president always said, allow the poor to breathe. Thanks so much for giving us an insight on that development on that sector. All right, everyone, we'll now turn attentions to the systems of government in Nigeria. That those arguments on presidential and parliamentary system of government. What works for us? What is best? Why are we even having that interaction? Coming from the House of Representatives, that over 60 members of House of Reps are raising that bills. They have started some conversation and engagement with stakeholders. We'll be discussing that and knowing what works for Nigeria. Please stay with us on the program. I'll be right back.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
So I'll send the link to you. Yes, thank you so much.